guys, welcome back to another week, one more week of Autastic, your comedian's guide to autism. I'm one of your hosts, as always, and my name is Kirk Smith, and my co-host.
I'm Graham K. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We got a few new listeners from my tour opening up with Nate Bargatze in giant arenas. It's pretty
Nice.
Welcome, new listeners. I get a lot of people. I do a lot of jokes about autism now, making fun of Peter, of course. And no, kidding. And I jokes about growing up with autism in my family, and I get a lot of people who have children with autism message me after, and then I send them the Autastic way. So, welcome to our silly group. This is the way. This is important and the way. No, it's just a fun hang with people who know what your life is like.
Yeah. Welcome to a club that nobody wanted to be a part of. That we're all part of now.
Yeah. Kirk has a 21-year-old nonverbal son. 21.
23. But who's in the
Oh
math?
my gosh.
23.
Oh my gosh.
Time's just flying by.
Oh my gosh. And old Pete is 38. My brother is 38. Pete is my parents are on a 2-week vacation. They left yesterday. It's their last big vacation. They keep saying this. It's our last big vacation before we're too old. Because they're like 73, 74.
And then their health holds up and they keep leaving.
Yeah. But they got vaccines for all sorts of stuff, and they're going to Africa. And my brother is taking care of the house. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It was their favorite
Africa,
trip
can you
of their
say,
whole.
or is it a secret?
No, it's not a secret. They're running guns.
No,
they
Egypt,
are
or South Africa?
Yeah,
or?
No. They're going to Nairobi. They were there once before. They had a great time. Like, this is 25 years ago. They went, and they always talked about it. And they're going back.
Nairobi, Kenya. Got to see Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, that's right. They saved up so much. So they saved up, and they're looking forward to it. And their knees are bad, so they got first class tickets. They never ever get first class. I think it's like the first time they've ever gotten first class tickets. And they're just like, they don't care. They're like, what are we waiting for? Why are we, so they're spending the money, and they got the airport lounge. Anyway, and they're like visiting the school that they support. Some school. My mother has this like student she supports. She's going to meet her, so she's excited. But anyway, my brother has to take care of the house, and he is. It's 2 weeks. It's a lot. He's done it before. The main problem is he doesn't like leaving his apartment, but for whatever reason, this time around, he is less reticent to do it. He is okay with it, and he hasn't complained, and he hasn't said, well, I still get to go back to my old apartment right after. Like, he's still scared that we're going to take away his apartment and he has to move back with the parents. Every time he takes care of their house, he's like, is this forever? And they're like, no, it's fine. You're just helping us. And I think the reason is, and I started this, and my parents have taken my lead, actually, and used this method as well, is basically saying, look, we pay your rent. If you don't do this, we won't pay your rent. They're lying. We're lying to him, and we won't pay your rent, and you have to do your part, and then you'll be homeless. And you want to be homeless, And he's like, oh, I don't want to be homeless. So he's kind of just doing it. He's like, yeah, that's what you got to do, and he's right. And I'm glad he's doing it. He's a good son. I'm not there. I'm not doing it. So he's a better son than me, and. Yeah, I'm proud of him. My dad is expecting golf balls, and my dad. Pardon me.
Is there a dog involved in this? Remind me, I can't remember. Do they have a dog he has to keep an eye on too?
There there is a dog involved in this. Now, one of the reasons why my parents got when my old dog died, my parents got a smaller dog, and that is so Peter could carry the dog in his apartment hallways. However, because you can't have the dog loose in the hallways. It has to be in a carrier. You have to be able to carry it. That's the rule in Peter's building, and the thinking that if they ever went on vacation, the dog could go to Peter's apartment, and then he wouldn't complain and could take care of the dog there. However, I think he dropped the dog, and it was like a whole thing, and it's just easier to keep it at their house.
The dog stays at his house, at your parents' house, all the time, so he's got to feed the dog too, right? Is that right? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, exactly. But he tried to do it one time. He tried to, when my parents went away for the weekend or something. They dropped the dog off at his house, and the plan being that he was going to carry it, but he dropped the dog in the hallway. The dog ran away.
Got it.
The whole thing, and
okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's better for him to watch it at the house. Got it.
Yeah, it's better for him to watch it at the house. Sorry if I'm rambling. But anyway, there's dogs going all over the place. Peter's going all over the place. Parents are in Africa. Dogs flying. People crying. Pete's taking care of it though, and we're proud of him. My dad's
the dog ran away, and
balls.
then the dog ran away and then peed in the hall. Oh, I'm sorry, the dog did that. No, Pete peed in the hall, but the dog did run away.
Yeah,
that just happened to my son. My son does that.
No, Pete wouldn't pee in the hall. Pete's not that. Pete, he's good with that. But anyway,
that's great. That's awesome. That's awesome. He's
yeah,
got
my
a
dad,
little,
my
little
dad's
job,
like,
a little
I'm
responsibility.
expecting golf balls, and you gotta look every day for the golf balls, Pete. You gotta look every day for the golf balls. So my brother's like, don't. My brother called me and he's like, but Dad's expecting golf balls. I guess Amazon's messed up in order, so my brother is on high alert every day looking for these golf balls.
Okay, well,
how's JJ?
I like it. The weather's probably good. It's probably a good time to do that. He's good. I had a funny call with him yesterday. They called, and he had a little tiny hole in his shirt just from overwashing the clothes from too many stains, too many food stains, and he put his finger in it and tore it. And then the lady was like, don't do that. And then he was upset, and then it was. It's really funny that he really doesn't like to be told what to do, which is a tough thing if you don't like to be told what to do when you can't really do anything. Yeah, when you're not good at a lot of things and you need to be told what to do.
That's interesting.
Then you don't like it. That's a tough one. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can't let you do what you want, because when you do what you want, it's mostly destruction of property and clothes. But I took half the call from his office. Long-time listeners know he set up an office in the hallway of the group home he lives in, or not the group home, whatever you want to call it. I guess it's a group home. I don't know what to call it. Assisted living. Yeah, he's got this one little nook. There's a hallway that is kind of a dead end. And he's taken a little IKEA chair out there, and he's got a little lamp, and he's got his laptop, and he watches his videos there. And if he doesn't want you nearby him, he points away. Go that way. Get out of here. So he's a little boss. He's a little
little dictator.
Tall, chubby king. Yeah, a little dictator. He's not a short
My mother
king,
calls Peter the little
king.
dictator.
So he's definitely got his opinions and what he wants and what he expects, and yeah, doing good. They had a little drive in the rain the other day. It's one of his favorites. I'm over there in 5 weeks, so planning that trip. We're doing a big Christmas. My parents, longtime listeners know, live in South America, and they're getting ready to retire. Excuse me. So they want to do a big Christmas thing with all the family. So 20, I don't know what it is, 25 people, 20, me and my siblings and all our kids. And so, but we're having we talked a little bit about trying to get him to come, but it's just from Sweden, where he lives, there's no direct flights from Sundsvall to Guayaquil. So we were trying to figure it out, and I just don't think it's, I debated and looked at some flights, just curious. but it's not in the cards for him. So it would just take too much.
Yep.
I talked a little bit with his aides about him traveling a little bit to the States. We talked about that, but I would need some help. I need somebody to come with me and travel with me and like just, yeah. It's because sometimes you won't sleep, and if he sleeps 0, then
Yeah.
somebody has to watch him all night. So, or he will
That's a
tear
lot.
the foundations up. Yeah. So, long story short, he's not going to make that Christmas trip. So I'm going there right before. And we are going to do, these goofy pictures that everybody makes fun of where everybody wears the same clothes. My parents haven't got the memo.
Yes.
We're doing that. So,
Right.
so we're all wearing red suspenders. So now I need to figure out a way to get him red suspenders. And we're going to take a picture and then Photoshop him in. Don't ask me. This is my parents' idea. Sometimes you do things for your parents. You're like,
It'll make
a good idea.
100. It's definitely your mom's idea. It's gonna make her happy.
Yes.
You just gotta let it happen. It's just worth it.
So,
and it'll be a picture of all you guys together. They don't have any of those, probably.
Yeah. So I'm getting off a ship in New Orleans, if I remember right, and I fly straight to Sweden. So I got to figure out a way to get these suspenders before I go to New Orleans, because then I'm going straight from there to Sweden, I believe. So I'm on the hunt for red suspenders on Amazon. So
yeah, I mean, if not, I have a feeling New Orleans will have some red suspenders. That's one town that I don't know. I feel like they got some wacky suspenders in that town for some reason. I just picture a guy playing a trombone in a band with suspenders.
So basically, I just go steal suspenders off a band leader. I like this plan. I like it.
I think that they buy them in stores there, and I think you can find it anyway. Whatever.
What's going on with this in the news? I'm kind of excited about. Grandma found this in the news, and speaking about, it's a subject we've talked about off and on many times about differences in gender and in autism.
Yeah. This is from. Away. Yeah, this. Thanks, Kirk. This is from our. I don't know. That's so funny. You just read the article, man. This is from our old pals at Spectrum News. The title is X chromosome variants help explain autism's sex bias. This is by Charles Q. Choi. Rare gene variants a boy inherits from his mother's X chromosome can increase his chances of having autism, Tourette syndrome, or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, a new study finds. This advance helps us to understand genetic mechanisms underlying male vulnerability to autism spectrum disorder. Tourette syndrome and ADHD, says study lead investigator Jeremy Wilsey, associate professor of psychiatry and behavioral sciences and co-director of psychiatric cell map initiative at University of California, San Francisco. Two things, Kirk. One, it's Tourette syndrome, not Tourette's. I always thought it was Tourette's with an S on the end. It is Tourette syndrome with singular. And also, I think that's very interesting because I have ADHD. My brother has autism, obviously. So there is a link. And also, we've talked about this so many times. And one of the reasons why we say that we've all speculated on this podcast, and other articles, scientific articles, have also speculated that there is less autism in girls, is because they are better at hiding it, and the researchers don't ask the correct questions. And it would seem from the first paragraph of this article that is not entirely true, that there is a genetic marker that would further strengthen the idea that boys are more susceptible.
Man,
right?
You're off to a strong start. Very strong. Good analysis and good reading. Continue. Take it away.
Good reading comprehension, Miss Withy would have told me in grade 7. This advance helps us understand genetic mechanisms. I'm reading that again. Yep. Now I'm back down to 0. Okay, here we go. New start. The work also implicates the X chromosome gene MAGEC3 in autism for the first time, analyzing the X chromosomes of more people with autism or other neurodevelopmental conditions could help identify additional risk genes, Wilsey says. Investigation of these genetic risk factors may illuminate mechanisms underlying risk and resilience for these conditions and therefore putative treatments. Autism, Tourette syndrome, and ADHD appear significantly more often in boys, even after potential diagnostic biases are taken into account. One possible explanation is that boys who typically have only one X chromosome cannot compensate for the altered copy of the X chromosome gene in the same way that girls who have two X chromosomes can. Previous attempts to find gene variants on the X chromosome that are associated with autism, Tourette syndrome, and ADHD in idiopathic cases in which there is no known genetic cause proved fruitless. However, perhaps in part because those efforts didn't analyze enough people to detect such variants. Wilsey and his colleagues analyzed exomes, the protein coding regions of the genome, from 65 families that have one autistic son and at least two non-autistic sons, all born to non-autistic parents, and that are part of the Simon Simplex collection founded by the Simmons Foundation, Spectrum's parent organization. The non-autistic women in the study, they found, consistently passed 4 X chromosome regions home to 149 genes down their autistic sons, but not to their autistic ones. This inheritance pattern may reflect...
I didn't get that.
Sure. Yeah, I also think I did a poor job of reading it. The non-autistic women in the study, they found consistently passed 4 X chromosomal regions home to 149 genes down to their autistic sons, but not their non-autistic sons. This inheritance pattern may reflect the way in which DNA in a woman's X chromosome can shuffle or recombine during the creation of egg cells. The 4 sites were 60% richer in damaging rare variants in the autistic sons than in their non-autistic brothers. And the autistic boys possessed roughly twice as many rare damaging variants affecting genes that rank among the top half expressed in the brain. Similar findings emerged from the follow-up analysis of 11,391 autistic boys and their 1,549 unaffected brothers who are participating in SPARK, another Simons Foundation-supported effort. When the researchers analyzed exome data from 570 boys and men with Tourette syndrome and 332 boys and men with ADHD, they found even stronger effects than those seen in people with autism. Those with Tourette syndrome were 2.1 times more likely to have rare damaging variants on their X chromosomes than controls, whereas those with ADHD were 2.5 times more likely. The scientists detailed their findings online last month in a preprint article submitted to Nature Communications. A further analysis of the additional 13,052 autistic boys and men and the 2,295 non-autistic controls from the combined SSC and SPARK data sets surfaced the new association between autism and MAGE-C3. The gene belongs to the melanoma antigen family, which is associated with a wide range of conditions, including neurodevelopmental ones. They are able to identify the autism risk gene that has been undetected until now, says Aaron Basterman, assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at the University of California, San Diego, who did not take part in the study. As more is uncovered, it may shed some light on the mechanism of male genetic vulnerability or neurodevelopmental disorders, specifically on the overlapping risk of these disorders, which commonly occur together in patients, especially males. Researchers on the apparently higher rates of neurodevelopmental conditions in boys often focuses on the female protective effect Betzman says the theory suggests that girls are inherently more resistant to factors that predispose someone to autism. There has been a lot less emphasis on male genetic vulnerability, so it's nice to see some new work on the topic, he says. Spontaneous or de novo mutations in non-sex chromosomes are linked to decreased nonverbal IQ, past studies show. The researchers did not, however, see similar associations with the rare damaging variants of the X chromosome in autistic boys. Instead, autistic boys with above average nonverbal IQ may have 40% more of these variants than controls. All in all, about 24, and 28% of rare damaging variants on the X chromosomes may be linked to having autism, ADHD, or Tourette syndrome, respectively, the team estimates. These variants, however, contributed to risk in only 2 to 3% of the cases for all these conditions. This work is absolutely not suggesting that mothers in general are responsible for their children's diagnosis, Wellesley says. I think that's the end of the article, by the way, and I think that last sentence is very important. That last quote from Wilsey, Dr. Wilsey.
Hit it again.
This work is absolutely not suggesting that mothers in general are responsible for their children's diagnosis.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a common thing that a lot of women suffer from. Lorena did, especially like the guilt surrounding, if I could have done this, I could have taken a vitamin, I should have slept more, I could have done this, then he wouldn't be like this. And yeah, you're talking about genetic stuff that's out of our control. So yeah. Never feel bad about that. Bad about that. Interesting article, because you hit this on the head at the beginning. Was that if we've alluded to many times, we've covered articles that talk about women being diagnosed less, and if it was because perhaps the questions are stilted towards men's interests and abilities. And it sounds like, based on this, maybe the questions are stilted, or maybe there is a proclivity to search for it harder in men. But there's also the fact that men have the just a 1X chromosome, and the women have the 2. And so, if you've got an issue with that 1X, there's no backup, there's no redundancy to correct it. So it's very interesting.
No. I guess basically what this article is saying is that men are simple. Right?
Men like sandwiches and naps.
Okay.
And if you don't get your sandwiches and
Kirk,
naps, we get grumpy.
I think we did it.
We did it.
Yeah, it's not. And golf. That's about it. You can follow me at Mr. Graham K on Instagram and Twitter. Also, find me on Facebook. I'm posting a lot of silly videos. Also, watch my special if you haven't. I'm very proud of it. There are a couple little swear words in there, but not too much, just so you know if you're going to turn it on with kids around. I don't know. But yeah, find it on YouTube for free. It's called Graham K. Live in a Bowling Alley. Kirk, what's up with you?
I am still on this massive tour of the Filipino Navy, also known as cruise ships, and not to brag. But same thing. I've had a couple of videos that have gone viral, and it would really help me if you would follow me on Instagram and YouTube or Facebook. Just hit that like button and let those videos roll in the background. Even mute it if I'm not your cup of tea. But that would really help me move the needle out here so that I could maybe get into a different kind of Navy. That would be terrific. I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for your support.
Land Navy.
As always.
Land Navy would be great. Thanks so much. And if you haven't already, you can donate at patreon.com/autastic. Thanks very much, guys. Take care.
That'd be great. Have a great week, guys. You can do it.
The center manager to whom she had reported the incident had left the company and been replaced, Kirk. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, this like brings up an interesting issue, right? Because I feel like
There's more to the article, by the way. You can check it out at Fortune if you want. But we got to go.
I just think we're at 30 minutes, but so we're gonna wrap up. But I do think it's interesting that it's good that there's finally funding. Basically they're saying there's a money grab trying to happen, which there couldn't be a money grab 30 years ago, 20 years ago.
And if it's all private, there's no overseeing.
There's less oversight.
And if you complain, it hurts the product. So it's like, they're not unionized, and so they can't complain or else they'll get fired, and it's just
It brings up a lot of tough situations. As always, we're always curious to hear from you about your own personal situations.
Yeah.
Around therapy, who you use, how you vet people, how you vet providers.
Yeah, we can relay that information. If you want to email us, or find us on social media and write us, and let us know, and we can relay that. We can talk about it over the air and help out other parents who listen to this podcast, because finding as Kirk knows, his son, he had to go all the way to Sweden. It's tough to find someone to take care.
Finding good care is always very complicated, especially when especially when it's cost constrictive, meaning like you don't have unlimited.
And this is covered by her therapy, so she's like, oh, great.
It's different if you've got insurance or private money, it's just a different experience. Well, did we do it?
I think we did it.
I think we did it, guys. I am in New York City all these next 2 weeks doing shows all over the place. The Village. I will post today on my Instagram. If you are interested in coming out to see a live show, as always, keep an eye on my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Kirk Smith Comedy. I'm starting a new mailing list to do. Keep your ears peeled for that. Eyes peeled, ears open. For that, a new mailing list to do a nationwide tour I'm hoping to put together if I can figure this out.
Email Kirk. Give him your email.
KirkSmithComedy@gmail.com. And
get on the mailing list.
Get on the list.
That's how comics make our money, is touring, obviously. But if you're not famous, Kirk and I might shock you to find out, not famous. Comedy clubs will not hire us because we can't put butts in the seats. But if we can guarantee that we'll put a certain amount of butts in the seats, then they will hire us.
It's that simple.
So if we get a mailing list and we can go, okay, I know that I can get at least 50 people in San Francisco or 100 people in San Francisco, then we'll have a much better chance of being able to go there. Because people always go, why don't you come to so-and-so place? And it's like, nobody will let me go. Nobody wants me to go. I can't just stand on a street corner.
Yeah.
So
you need a venue to perform in.
Yeah.
Ideally. And fans or people in the audience to listen to the jokes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not even sure it's stand-up if there's nobody laughing. It's just a speech.
Which is what your comedy has been described as, I believe.
A sad speech?
Yeah. So anyway, folks, speaking of sad speeches, I'm going to be at the Looney Bin in Tulsa, Oklahoma, August 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm also going to be at the Looney Bin in Oklahoma City, August 11, 12, and 13. 11, 12, and 13. So I'm working on a couple things. And I'm working on doing a autism one-man show about growing up with a brother who has autism. And I'm going to be workshopping some new stuff. And it's basically a year-long process that I'm starting more or less right now. So it won't all be that material, but I can guarantee that 20 minutes of it will be about autism out of the 45 minutes I'm doing. So
it's a sizable chunk.
Yeah. And as always, find me on at Mr. Graham K on Instagram and Twitter. And you can email me at grahamkcomic if you want to tell me how much you love me.
If you hate him, then email danecook@gmail.com.
Yep.
Have a great week, guys. You can do it.